Hi, my name is Michael Waits, and welcome back to Insurance for the New Possible, a Chubb conversation. And who better today to inform us than Alex Blake, a Senior Vice President and the Global Head of Travel Insurance at Chubb, and Pati Sarson, the CEO of Really Cool Airlines. And let's have a really cool conversation. I want to thank both of you for coming here and doing this. And today I want to talk about the airline industry, where it's been, where it's going, and how it's going to get there by leveraging technology, innovative experiences, and strategic partnerships. And I think that falls into both of your bailiwicks perfectly.
Yep.
Let's jump right into this thing.
Okay,
yeah, exactly. Hit you. Let's start with you, Pati.
Okay.
What are some of the key opportunities and challenges that you see in the aviation industry today? And be as general as you want, and we can then drop it down to get more specific. But you're starting a new airline. What are the things you see?
Look, I've been in the airline business for 20 years.
Right.
This is 20 years since I started Nokia, 2004.
Knock, yeah.
And that was low-cost days, right?
Yeah.
And then I left Nokia in 2017 after we took an IPO and, you know, supposed to reach the pinnacle of success when you IPO.
Right.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
I left the space, and then I was so lucky because COVID came.
In a way, some people
So
were lucky.
I was actually away from the aviation space into other fields to look at other things. And then I was asked to come back by coincidence because the Kunada Buranasiri, who was the CEO of the AirGX group, called me up and said, can I help him? And the question was, how do you want me to help you? Right? And he said, look, I have 15 aircrafts on the ground. I have full staff. I don't know when COVID is going to finish.
So what year was this? 2020?
21.
21-ish.
Yeah,
okay,
21-ish.
good. Yep.
So I said to him, look, listen, man, I can find you a good, consultant because we can't afford one. So you can't afford one. He said, can you do it? So I said, all right, I'll do it. But I don't want to charge you because you're my friend. It's all free of charge. And then I brought the team together from the lawyers from HFW and some other people as a team. So we negotiated lessors down 40%. Some of them extension, some of that stuff. And then what I did was to actually start working on creation of revenues. And at the time, cargo was the key. And Thailand was one of the medical hub for the products, right? So we actually had contacts into Germany. So I helped him with the ACC3 to create the cargo space. Then I actually helped to talk to CAT as well to make sure that we're able to do it. So I actually executed the whole thing and came to life. Now,
can I interrupt you for a second? Do you find that there are a lot of things about Thailand in particular? Like you just mentioned medical stuff, medical tourism, obviously massive in Thailand, right? But do you find that there are things that you can learn in Thailand and things that people don't know about those markets that then you can then kind of push out into other markets in the world because of the way you have to innovate inside of Thailand?
There we go. There's a lot of things that people don't, especially the airlines, don't see,
Go ahead.
They only see the tubes, right? Anyway, so the point, though, is that we're starting making revenues and cash flow. Right. But he passed away.
Oh.
He passed away in June. And at the time, I was actually looking for innovation to help him beyond that. He was getting sick, and I said to him, look, I can be your CEO for 6 months free while you're getting better. And when you come back, you could take the space because then I can look after your staff while things going on and find innovations. So I started talking to Huawei for technologies and all these new ideas, right? Innovations. And then he passed away. So I said, I gave up. I said, look, okay, my friend's gone. I don't want to do this anymore. And so therefore, I actually came to the airline economics. And I started meeting all the lessors, right? Some of the friends, all the guys that you probably know. And they said, why don't you do it? I said, I don't know, man. I'm 59 years old. I'm getting to 60 and da-da-da-da. But, I thought about it. So I actually came back to the family and said, look, listen, I'm going to try this. What do you think? And my dad actually said to me, well, if you're going to do it, create a legacy, not just a business.
Right.
Because, our family business is already making money. You're fine already with your life. And you want to break away again, like a black sheep. Typical me. So I became a black sheep, and here
again.
I am. Yes.
Again.
Yes.
What did you learn about after you took a break between 2017 and 2021-ish, right? You went to other industries and looked at stuff. And during that period of time, obviously, we had COVID, but we had a bunch of other things going on. And tech is one of the big enablers. But a lot of technology changed between 2017 and 2021, particularly as it could relate back to airlines. You get to start from scratch, right? And you're right. If your dad says to you, build a legacy, incorporate this into everything else that the family has done, make it as big as that. How do you then take the tech and the innovations that you found, whether it's with Huawei, whether it's with Chubb, and because Chubb has advanced massively as well on the tech side too, yeah? Particularly since 2017.
Sure.
How do you look at all those things and then incorporate it in and say, we're going to make the coolest airline in the world?
Hit it right nail on the spot, man. First of all, I wasn't going to come back until I saw everybody else. I looked at every other airlines that's coming back. And I said to myself, oh my God, you guys haven't learned a thing. That's why I'm back.
But part of being away means
You can see something else.
You can see something else,
You're
man.
outside the aviation space. You see all the money's being made when everything's screwed. And then that's why I came back and looked at all these big boys, right? I'm talking top brands. I won't even
you don't have to mention them.
And they go, oh my God, did COVID happen?
But I mean, it was who was it? Richard Branson famously said, how to become a millionaire. Step 1, become a billionaire. Step 2, start an airline.
That's now for me is even an old saying because now you can meet
I know.
trillionaire.
You should.
But the point
Yeah,
though is my point is saying this is the fact that there has to be change. A change, and it has to be able to mitigate the risk. When you're talking to your investors and you say you're doing pure airlines and this is what I'm doing, they say no investment. Thank you very much. Until you come up with a business strategy that makes sense and said this is how you mitigate the risk. That's when the money starts coming in and say, oh, okay, now you are different. So hence, like you said, the technology, right? What have you seen?
Right.
Okay. Now let's look at the basics. Number 1, corporate communication. Because you can't go anywhere. Suddenly we have Zooms, we have Google Meets, we have Teams, and it's getting better and better and better, right? So now the first thing you think of is, okay, the corporate travel.
Do I need to get on the plane to do it?
Exactly.
Right.
You may still do because a lot of corporate travelers still want to travel.
Yeah.
You're used to it.
To be fair, this is much more impactful
Sure.
than recording this on Zoom. It
Yeah.
just is, right?
Absolutely.
It just is.
But you can imagine, right? But do you still want to travel, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Of course.
The thing is, with the cost-cutting measures, you can save costs on meets that is unnecessary on Zooms and Google Meets and meetings, right? This is one area that you're looking at. That's number 1. Number 2, what do you do when you're bored? At home, cannot get out? 3 things. You eat. You play crypto because you want to make some kind of money. You eat, you mean you order food. And you play games. This is the sort of thing you do. You're stuck at home, doing nothing. So therefore, this is the sort of thing that you're trying to find ways of doing it. And these guys thrived. Aviation died. So you start thinking, okay, I'm looking at all these elements now. I said to myself, wow, that's where I can make money. But nothing about aviation yet. That's why I came back, and then they said, oh, now the capacity is low. Not enough capacity. We can't find airplanes. We're getting really good yield. It's going to be really good. Pent up demand. Then you look again that how long did your when was the last time you had a sort of a dilemmas each time? So we had COVID. So the minute COVID finished, oh, it's going to be 5 years? No. We have Ukraine. Oh, no. We have hoodies. No. We have Korea. We have Taiwan. We have always risk factors involved, and it's less than 5 years. Point of mine is that could be the risk of factor of any time that you cannot fly, right?
There's a ton of stuff to cover here, actually. Patti,
Yeah.
I want to get to this in a second, actually. I want to get back to this idea of starting something from scratch. And as a potential partner, when you look at somebody who's starting from scratch, your eyes must light up in a way because you think, I don't have to deal with a bunch of legacy. But you understand what I mean, right?
Sure.
So when you look at that, again, from a partnership standpoint, what does Greenfield look like to you?
Well, I think in this particular case, right, it's to understand what the client, in this case, what Really Cool Airlines is looking for, and what kind of an airline, what kind of a customer proposition you're trying to convey, you're trying to deliver, and then to understand how what we offer can fit within that, not only from the perspective of product and, we sell insurance and we cover people and take care of people, but there are different ways to do that. There are different ways to automate those processes. Also in terms of technology, how we deliver, how we personalize, how we use data to make sure that we're delivering to your clients things that are optimally relevant. That's what it's about, right? So there's not a one-size-fits-all solution. We're not going to take what we do for any other partner, understand what it is that you're looking for, what your brand stands for, and how we can help you.
I want to simplify this for the people that are listening, right? If you go out of the aviation business, look around and see all the other things that people are doing from a customer experience standpoint, from a technology implementation standpoint, you see a lot of opportunity. But you love travel. You love the airline business, and you want to create a legacy. So you could just lease or buy a bunch of planes and start flying around again. It's a well-known thing. But if you want to build from scratch an experiential platform where the flying is not the main point, it's the enjoyment of the entire experience, well, then maybe even if you're not doing crypto, but people are definitely playing games. In other words, you have this ability to say, I'm going to build this kind of horizontal platform, and I'm going to plug in all these experiences into it so that the travel experience itself mimics all the other things you do in your regular life, so that flying is not drudgery, but it's a joy. So instead of saying, we got to get to the airport, we got to get on the flight, what are we going to do with our luggage? You're just thinking, I can't wait to get on the plane and have a blast. Is that fair?
That's exactly what the point is.
So how do you do that, though?
Good question.
I thought so.
You start first of all, we're not going to be the first that expand horizontally, right? There are airlines that do
Yeah, but you're doing
very
from
well.
scratch. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes. But you learn from them, right?
Yeah.
You learn from these guys. I was in advertising for 20 years. So I've built many brands. So I know exactly what do we do to create the differentiation of these platforms in terms of the space. How do we put all this together? And it starts with the business strategy, first of all. The business strategy is got to be key. Then, in terms of branding, is another key. You see what I mean? Look, the Really Cool brand is an adjective. It is understood from people who's 84 years old to 10. My son understands the word really cool. From Africa all the way to Canada, they understand the word really cool. Therefore, it's borderless, it's ageless, and it's applicable to anything you want. But it has to be cool. Why aviation? Aviation is the fastest exposure in business in the world. People know of Really Cool brand in one day. I put on LinkedIn. One day. I had Boeing calling me. One day. So what I'm saying to you is that what we're going to be doing is actually going to be unreal. Hence, the plane has to be cool though.
But so how do you do, can I ask you this? Because how do you do it, right? 25 years ago, Richard Branson said, I want to change the way airlines work.
Sure.
And I remember when I flew upper class the first time, right? It was purple. There were lights there. It seemed
Quite cool.
Very cool and very different. And the lounge was different.
Sure.
Right? So knock your previous experience, low cost, can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not the strategy. But if the business model is going to be different, if you're going to do RCA, well, then you can definitely do that because you can build anything you want, right? So what are those things? And then can you tell me this too? How does tech become part of that?
Well, the thing is, I don't really want to keep too much out of the bag because there's so many things that are very
I'm just going to keep asking though. No, go ahead.
No, it's highly confidential.
Yeah.
It's very tech-driven in many ways. But you have to understand, a tech is not a means to an end.
No, not at all.
It's
We
all
never
to do
say
with
so.
behavior. Like you said, it's true. So what do you want? What can Really Cool airlines provide? I'll give you objective. And what you do is you put me the tools that's going to make it work for me. Right? That's more the way I look at tech. So everything I do is to create a want, a needs, and I think that's going to be the demand from the perspective of each customer's. Look, I tell you, Really Cool brand, not everyone's going to love it, I've got a lot of skeptics now saying to me, God, it's not how it's going to work. The WOW Airlines didn't work. This was told me in my face. I said, it's not the same, man. And he goes, oh, yeah. They all look at one solid tube. And that's it. So therefore, there are people who's going to love it. And there are people who are going to test it out whether it's going to be cool or not. And the skeptics, all this kind of thing. My question is, but are you going to try it?
But isn't that the key to innovation in any industry, is the idea that the people that are using it can't see what needs to change?
Of course.
They can't
I
see the
love that.
future, right? So that's the best thing for you, right?
Yes.
And in a way it works as well. Because people that aren't in the industry can't, they just know what they want. I mean, it was Henry Ford who said, like, if I asked everybody what color they wanted, what they wanted, they'd just say a faster horse. And that's kind of what you're up against, right? It's like, just make this thing better. You're like, yeah, no, but we're going to make the whole thing better in a way you can't see.
The funniest thing was this. I was pitching for investment. You can write all these, the white sheets and all that stuff. I said, look, man, let me do a 49-minute video. After I finished, they said, we're in. Just like that. They go, oh my God. Yes. It's oh my God is the word I want to hear. Oh my God, how much can I be a part of this? And I've got not only just the investors, we're talking about partners, we're talking about Dusitani Hotel, the Standard Hotel Group, JCB, who else is into this Siam Seaplane? They're all said, 6-car rental, global. Can I be partner?
Do you feel like in the aviation industry, you can hear it in his voice, right? I mean, you can hear it. He definitely wants to do something different. Do you feel like there's this desire to have this innovation bubble kind of explode into this industry? And how do you see yourselves fitting in there? Because he wants to build new products from scratch as well, right?
But
So
that's for lack of a better way to put it, that's really cool, right?
But you see the way that works?
Yeah,
you see
sure.
what he did?
Yeah, no question about it. And I think first of all, I should say it takes somebody like you, Pati, right? That's willing to break some eggs, right, and willing to kind of challenge the way that things are done, right? There are a lot of very successful airline leaders and leaders of any businesses, right? I think you coming in and trying to disrupt things and do things in a very different way, again, is pretty cool, right?
But most of the people in the aviation space who knows me understands my character quite well.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a given in a way because we've done it before, right? It's not like zero.
Yeah.
The Nokia legacy that we did was in my days. I thought it was pretty cool too.
Yeah. No, I agree, and very different,
Yes.
right? Nokia certainly everything from the aircraft and the way that the aircraft looked, very distinctive. You know, anywhere in the region you would see a Nokia airplane and you would know right away what it was, right? And same with the really cool livery with the headphones and
exactly.
like you already know what it is, right? You already know what it is. It's a very distinctive thing. I think at the end of the day, right, there is a big opportunity for somebody like you, and again, it takes somebody like you, Pati, right, to come in and change the way things are done, and change customer expectations of what they're going to get in the experience of interacting with you, of booking, of using the product, right? So yeah, we're looking forward to it.
And that's what I'm thinking about you guys as well. When we talked to you, your team came. I never had in my house, I've got airports coming to my house, right? Narita Airport came to my house. Nagoya Airport came to my house 3 times. I had Marsh coming into my house. You guys came to my house. I'm talking about visiting my house, not my office. I swear to you. And
thank you for inviting us to your house, right?
And my wife was saying,
"Can you have an office, please?
Can we have an office quickly?" And so it's for me. It's like the key word of my life is I want to create the passion. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this to create something different.
What's the ideal customer experience for you? If you just think literally from the moment of, I want to go to Italy, I'm just making it up, right? Sure. To I want to get home with all the stuff that I bought when I was there. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff happening in between. And remember, we talked about platform, right?
Sure.
That's not, like if I go to Lake Como, it's not related to the airline, right? But it could be. So what is that experience like without giving away all the secrets?
I wish I could tell you.
Oh, come on.
I wish I could tell you.
Because I can tell you my ideal experience, but I want to know yours, even in general terms. What does it look like to you?
In general terms, it's when you take a holiday, right? when you go on a holiday,
Yep, you're flying for sure.
you're always on a holiday when you're there, right? But on the way there, it just kind of sucks, and on the way back, it sucks too. It's just the total experience is it's 360 degrees. It's not 90. It's not 180.
No, it's 360.
It's got to be 360 degrees. And hold on, everything is expected to be fine and dandy. But when things are not good, that's when you win customers. When there's disruptions, that's when you win or lose customers. Look, at Nok Air, I was through it when we had floods of Don Mueang Airport.
I was there.
You were there.
I was there.
I had to shift 25 aircrafts within 12 hours from Bangkok Don Mueang to Suvarnabhumi, and half of my team didn't have the airside card. I was there to handle every single passenger who was stuck, 400 personally. Did you know that every single customer who I handled never left Nok while I was there?
But this is a key point actually to make. Can I just say this, if you don't mind? This is a key point to make, and that is, it's in that moment of vulnerability and crisis where you actually maintain your customers.
Yes.
It's actually a massive opportunity to just go, I'll take care of it. Because you're right. And it's not just airline related, right? But if I go to the airport and I fly to Bangkok from Narita, which I've done many times, and if I get in the car for the hotel where I'm staying, right? And if the flight's been insanely amazing, but if the car's late, what happened? Right, because now I have stress on my vacation where I don't need it. And that's what you're talking about. This whole integration from beginning to end,
Has to be
if you can kill that thing,
Yep.
You're a
then
happy
you
boy.
win.
And I want to say, right, this is also somewhere where insurance plays a very critical role, and having the right kind of partner
For sure.
for an airline like your whole proposition to your customers is about the experience that they're going to have, and you're absolutely correct. You know, in a way, delivering good experiences, not that it's easy, but it's kind of what you do, right? It's what you do when those experiences, stuff happens, life happens, right? And it's what you do in those instances that you prove yourself to customers, and insurance is about that, right? You know, we say, and this is why it's important, you know, I would say not to plug Chubb, but that, you know, choosing the right kind of partner that you can make sure that when something happens to your customer that they're not going to mess it up, right?
Is it the money alone that's going to keep people happy? No. Sometimes it's much more than that.
Of course,
And
absolutely.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's not that expensive to do that kind of thing. That means the experience itself has to be fixed in a way that satisfies the emotions, not so much the pocket. The pocket mitigates just certain part of it, but the deliveries, because, you know, look, you spend $2,000 on this, you know, so you get what, $100 back or whatever. It's not gonna make a difference. You had a crappy experience. What you want to do is translate it to something that appease them to a certain point that you actually care. The word care is the most important aspect of the customer service. You can go to any business in the world. The word care is the key when things are not going right. So, and understanding. My job is to make sure that I work on the worst case scenario first until I get to the best case scenario. That's when you win the game.
Yeah.
Do you see?
Quite weird, huh? The way I answer things. It's very logical.
True. Yeah.
No, I like
agree.
it.
I agree, yeah.
If you build from the biggest problem up to simplicity, then you've already solved this. I think most people build these aspirational businesses where they're like, that's not going to happen to us.
Exactly.
So they never have a way to solve it. And this idea of the pocket only mitigates a certain part of the problem is actually a really interesting concept. And if it's imbued into the rest of your operation, then everybody else knows, from the person who checks you in to the person who gives you your luggage, or all these people in between, know, I just have to make that guy happy. And if I can make that guy happy, again, I talk about this a lot. I go to Moza at M. Quartier all the time. And the reason why I go there is because the wait staff there makes me happy.
Yeah.
In a way, I don't care about the food.
Exactly.
It's good. It's good, but I don't
right?
care about it.
Yeah.
Right? I want to go somewhere and feel happy.
The funniest, look, let me tell you, this is a story. Yesterday I had a conversation with one of these guys who flies Middle Eastern carriers all the time. He said, look, okay, you have A, B, C, okay? All right, they all have the same products, you know, all high end, all kinds of. He said, which one do you like most? He said, oh, I like B. I said, okay, why? Oh, because the service was so good. The girl's so nice. The food is quite good. It's on time. Da, da, da. Nobody talked about the hardware at all.
Yes, they didn't mention the seat. They didn't mention the angle that it goes
No.
down. They didn't mention anything. Right?
Nothing.
Just the people on the plane were nice to me.
Yeah.
And you see, so the key pointer is that, and yet, the airlines, when they come out, oh, here's our premium seats, here are our flatbeds, here's our suites, and it's going to take them 10 years, by the way, to fit everything in. By the time it's going to get to that 10 years, fill up all the planes, I'll be 70 years old, and I don't want that one.
Other things will have changed.
Oh.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Are you going to put connectivity on the planes?
Sorry?
Connectivity.
Of course.
But I mean, of course. So let me.
It's all part of the game.
I was flying once. No, but I was flying once from Narita, and I think it might have been on Virgin. It might have been. I don't remember. But I was flying from Narita to London. I was at Morgan Stanley, and I wanted to kind of play with my team that was on the ground. I'm like, is there Wi-Fi on the plane? And it was super slow because this was like in 1937. It was a long time ago.
Wow.
not that long ago. And I remember logging in and calling them from the plane. And they're like, where are you? I'm like, I think I'm above France, kind of thing.
Was that when they had phones in the
No.
seats?
I was on my
Like-
laptop. Yeah, but they
Okay.
did have phones on the
Yeah.
seats.
That was Lufthansa. Was the first one.
They
that
did have
had
that.
Yeah, I remember
connectivity.
that. It was like $10,
I was afraid to touch
$10 a
Because
minute.
years, they're trying to hook up.
But I was honestly afraid to touch that thing. I was like, that could be $7,000. Right. Just for looking at it. I'm like, I'm not paying attention to that. But my point was, that experience alone made me think, what else can you do on the plane
Oh man.
with connectivity? And since you're already flying near the satellites anyway, it can't be that hard to do.
A lot.
But if you talk, the reason why I bring this up is because you talked about, being on the internet, playing games, doing all this stuff. If the experience as well, if I'm on a flight for 10 hours and I can be distracted by fun
Sure.
or being able to do all the work that I want to do
Huh.
because I have connectivity, I can access my online drive, whether it's this tech or that tech, I'm in.
Today, this is already a demand.
I was going to say, I
It's
agree with that,
already
yeah.
at present.
I think it's expected. If I get on an airplane that
You
doesn't...
flew from Miami.
I did. I was connected the entire time. If I
Look, listen
Good
to
for you.
this.
Yeah.
Nook Air, I connected Nook Air on Wi-Fi in 2007. We were the first that gave free Wi-Fi in the air. At that time, nobody even talked about it. And then I went to the San Diego connectivity, and I said, hey, listen, and Paris as well. I said, this is going to be the key driver for success. Now, you listen to this. I tell the brand, it's a very nice brand, Zip Air, from Narita to Bangkok.
Okay.
I was an economy, and I was on my Wi-Fi tight. I was happy as dandy, all the way to Bangkok.
Every time I get on a plane, I just go to the Wi-Fi mark and I'm like, no.
It's good to hear. Zipper, by the way, is a Chubb partner, so we're so
And they
happy
don't
to hear
even
that.
have the IFE. They don't have TVs.
Yeah.
I was on my iPhone. I was listening to the news and all the way back here. And the price of the air tickets for Zip Air is no lesser than GEL. And that's low cost, supposedly, right? So my point is this. You're low cost or you're not low cost, it doesn't really matter. The point is, it comes back to the customer experience on the value that you've added onto your planes and your service. That's the key pointer. So that's the whole point I'm saying. As long as you satisfy the customer's experience expectations, you're in the game.
Do you see opportunities to integrate with the rest of the travel industry as well?
Of course.
In other words, I know there are loyalty programs and frequent flyer programs, stuff like that, but I'm talking about a more deeper integration. In other words, if you're this kind of airline, if you're a cool airline, maybe you want to have a relationship, and I'm just making up a brand, right? So don't take it for anything,
Sure.
but like with the W Hotel, because it's also thought of as cool, or at least used to be. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying you have to do that, but are there ways to integrate more deeply so that the experience ends up being consistent throughout? We talked about this earlier. If I go from my hotel, which was insane, to a travel experience, which is just middling, well then what was the point? And vice versa. So are there ways to do that?
Let me go back to you.
Please.
Really cool brand is an adjective.
Yeah, no, I know. It's
So-
going to be hard for people to get used to that though, right? Because
Trust me. It's gonna hit home. I don't want to spill out this because I don't have the aircrafts yet. Look, listen, we're quite famous with our airplanes already. So it's when we have the airplanes.
Which is weird since they're not there yet, you said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When we have the planes,
What's
then
gonna
you will
happen?
see.
So you came in here with a camera.
Yes.
No, but this is important to me, obviously, because we have cameras here and microphones and lights.
Sure.
And the video business is obviously very important. We have a philosophy that every company should be their own media company.
Of course.
So what is Really Cool Airlines thinking from a branding perspective about creating its own content? So creating the content itself so that it portrays itself with the message that it wants via its own media production.
I'm already doing it every day. The point though,
But how important is that?
no, I tell you what's more important.
Tell me.
What's more important is when your customers film you on their own media and talk about us, not us talking about us. It's got to be that cool. I don't care about me being famous on because I put it. It's me talking, you know. Of course, I'm not going to say anything bad about us, but when your customers talk about us in a cool way, we're in, because you only believe on the third party. Look, advertising, I swear to God, advertising for 20 years, right? I did advertising agency. I come up with ads that say this brand is great, and then 3 customers say, no, it's crap. Finished. But when the third party talks about you, so my job is to create an experience when the third party talks about us on our behalf rather than me talking about us.
Okay, I want to end with this. I'm gonna repeat what you just said. When your customers portray you in a cool way, that's when you win.
That's correct.
Alexander Blake, a senior vice president and the global head of travel insurance at Chubb, and Pati Saracen, the CEO of Really Cool Airlines. That was a really cool conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Indeed.
both.
Thank you, Pati, for being here.